Who Killed My Father? Written by Maddy Degala. Chapter 6. The Confession. Karthik was lying semi-nude on the bed, no cover over his first half body, and the remaining part was under boxers. The rays of the earth's only star hit him on the cheeks through the window. In the half-sleep, he stretched his left hand, expecting Siri beside him. His hand found no touch of her. He opened his eyes and looked around. She was found nowhere in the room. He got off the bed, put on a t-shirt, and walked towards the room's balcony. Found Siri, zoning out in a chair towards the rising daylight. She was in an astonished pink, long nightie with a robe. Karthik walked towards her and hugged from behind. "Good morning, baby," said Siri. "Good morning," Karthik greeted back his girlfriend. Karthik kissed the shining cheeks of Siri. "What are you thinking about?" asked Karthik. "Nothing," replied Siri. Karthik kneeled beside Siri and told her, "Siri, Dad and you are my two eyes. One eye pushed me into the darkness, doesn't want the other to leave me. Without you, the world is an empty one for me now." Siri turned towards Karthik, and drops of tears flowed out. Seeing his world cry, he stretched his arms to pull her towards his warm. And then, suddenly, the doorbell rang. Karthik went and opened the door. To his surprise, the investigating officer of his dad's death was standing in front of him. Behind him were two male constables, a lady constable and his regular disciple, Chari. "May I come in, sir?" the officer asked Karthik sarcastically. Seeing the law protectors from the balcony, Siri adjusted her clothes and walked into the room. Karthik stepped back and allowed three of them into the room. Siri went into a state of scare. "How come you are here?" asked Karthik. "I think I'm the one who should ask this question, Mr. Karthik." "What do you say, Chari?" replied the officer. "When your father was dead, I thought you would be wandering in and around the city, or staying at home with a lot of booze. Never thought you would travel so far to have a physical and mental relief with your girlfriend," the officer continued. "I forced Karthik to come here," Siri intervened. "He was going through scary nights because of his father's death. Thought the place change might bring him back to normal. Is it? Or you came here to party in the joy of killing your father-in-law?" Officer came to the point of his visit. At the officer's question, Siri went into a state of paralysis. Blood flow of Karthik's nerves increased, and both his fists turned rock as if he was ready to punch hard at the officer. "What are you talking about, officer?" Karthik increased the width of his regular voice. Looking at Karthik, the officer continued, "Mr. Karthik, let me tell you a short story. Please listen carefully." Siri and Karthik holding their sincere stare at the officer. The officer started the story. A lovely couple at their young age, madly in love with each other. Boyfriend is the son of an esteemed businessman who was rich enough to control the state politics, while his girl was an orphan with no better financial status. Siri was uneasy at the officer's narration. One evening at a pub, one of the friends mocked the boyfriend's love and his fear of keeping it secret from his father. The angered male love broke his friend's head for speaking bitterly about his girlfriend, the officer continued. Karthik was listening to the officer's story with all the controlled emotions. Siri slowly came beside Karthik and held his hand tightly. On the same night, he drove his car straight from the pub to his father's place to prove his love. The girlfriend followed him in an auto. Both reached the place and together tried to convince the father to approve their love. But when the big man refused, the love couple threw him off the building and killed him, the officer finished his point of narration. Excellent story. You have a bright future as a writer. Karthik gave a sarcastic appreciation. Yeah, I feel the same. But for you both, the future will be behind the bars, officer replied. No arrest can be done based on an imagination. Evidence is the one which matters. Karthik took his stand. Siri was still holding Karthik's hand tightly. The officer gave a cheeky smile, took a file from Chari's hand, which he was carrying, and replied, This is the call data. After you left the pub, your friend Rishi called your father. 2 minutes later, your father called you and asked you to come to the construction building. After killing him, you very cleverly deleted the last 2 call lists from your father's mobile, but you missed the logic that it will be documented at the network's data. Karthik was a bit mystified by the words of the officer. In addition to your misfortune, we have a witness, the auto driver who taxied your girlfriend at the same building just a few hours before your father's murder. He saw both of you. I think this evidence and witness is quite enough to arrest you both, said the officer. Karthik looked at Siri, who was already stunned. The officer signaled his teammates. The only lady subordinate took the handcuff and walked towards Siri, while the other neared for Karthik. By seeing his love in that dazed situation, and with the fear of losing her, Karthik started refusing their arrest and increased his voice. Everything you said is nonsense. Neither my girl nor I can kill my father. I loved him when he was alive and will be loving him forever. From day one, you are trying to frame us as the killers and hence fabricated all these against us. Ignoring Karthik's words, the male subordinate caught Karthik's hands from behind and pulled towards him, causing Karthik to bend backward, handcuffed their prime suspect. But Karthik, who didn't want to get arrested, started fighting with the officers. He was moving his body unsymmetrically, pushing the police away from him. But the law controllers, along with the leading officer, tried to control him. Siri became very agitated, seeing the state of her boyfriend. It's me who killed Karthik's father. An outburst from Siri. Karthik passed out in the car without meeting his father. Siri put her statement. Karthik stopped his revolt and stood frozen towards the words of his love. His mind went blank, but the law controllers were keen to listen, as the case is about to close with no further efforts in investigations. Siri continued her statement. I met Uncle alone at the terrace and tried to convince my love for Karthik, but he didn't accept. With the fear of losing Karthik, I went mad and threw an alcohol bottle at him. In an attempt to escape, he turned back. His leg slipped and fell from the top. To hide my visit, I deleted the last call from his mobile. Later, I took Karthik to my home. Siri, don't do this. Please, Karthik intervened. This is the truth, Karthik. I'm sorry for killing your father. I miss you forever, Siri confirmed. The officer chuckled as he heard the actual truth from Siri. Madam, Hyderabad is far from here. We need to hurry up. The officer rushed the arrest. The lady subordinate grabbed Siri and took her out of the room. The officer looked at Karthik with the thought of consoling him, but he withdrew it and walked out the hotel along with his team. Karthik just froze and stood there.